Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and all the children around the world. We're doing our magical jump in, jump out today with the beautiful cob house in behind us. And we are so excited to be inviting Susie Pickett to join us today as our change maker. She is such an inspiring person to us in our community, and the amazing things that she's done that she's going to share with us and all of you here today in the next 20 or so minutes. As always, Sammy's going to jump on and ask these really, questions with a bit of depth. I'm Tennille Christensen.
Yeah, I'm Samantha Jurgens. And yeah, thank you so much for being here, Susie. It's been a pleasure knowing you and watching all your projects over the last several years. So I was hoping we'll start off if you could tell our viewers and our members of our Nature Kids Club a little bit about yourself, like what you do during your days, how you fill your days. Yeah.
Well, do you want from the start? I mean, the beginning of this project was when I met you.
Yeah.
Samantha, at the Earth Building workshop, which was probably 9 years ago, roughly now. Yeah. And then I went with my two kids, which were quite young at that stage, to buy land in Kuranda and build my own earth home off-grid, just for an extra challenge. And set up all those systems for living off-grid. Yeah. And now, 8 or 9 years later, it's finished, and I'm just selling it and moving to a bigger block of land to build more cob houses. Yay.
Yeah. And is there anything else that you would like to share about what you're up to at the moment, Susie?
At the moment, I'm mum to Maya and Jade, and I have a beautiful partner. I'm doing visual arts at TAFE, and we're still earth building. We'll always be earth building. That's my passion. Well, probably sustainable building in general, and then self-sufficiency. They're two of my biggest passions. So everything around those two things, still researching good off-grid systems. Yeah. Finding ways to better our sustainable buildings, using more rubbish and things like that, things that we're going to throw away even in the walls, just jamming cans and things with rubbish and filling the walls to get rid of rubbish that way. Different ways we can reuse and recycle materials into buildings instead of going to a hardware store. We're just focusing on that as much as possible. So, at the moment our days are just playing with cob and swimming a lot and lots of creativity. I'm feeling very blessed at the moment.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. And can you share with us a little bit why all of this is so passionate to you and why you go about it these ways?
I feel like it's something that's taken control of me. You know, it's almost something that, you know, when you feel you're just born to do something and it has its own little journey, and I'm just aboard that train more than something I kind of went, I'm going to be a cob builder. Yeah. You know, just kind of culminated in all my different experiences. It was just that divine, what is it? Your divine work or whatever that happens that naturally that you feel destined to do in your life. Yeah, I'm just passionate about anything off-grid, anything earth building, sustainable, getting away from the Bunnings way of building, pretty much. Nothing wrong with Bunnings, but for us it's just a move away from those trips to Bunnings to buy things, to make them or reuse things out of the dump or rubbish and things instead. Move in that direction.
So you're incorporating products that are already, I guess, classed as waste in our environment, building with it, but just the essence of what you're building is also not producing waste. Because we look at the building industry and all of the bits of offcuts, and they've got the bins outside, and there's just so much wastage coming out of that.
So much toxicity too, so much toxicity. When you build with earth, we have kids in there that are 2 or 3 sitting in the mud, rubbing it all over their faces and helping to build, and it's clay on their skin, you know, it's sand or straw. They can be just much involved in the process as anyone, which is amazing to see kids sitting in the cob mix just getting so much out of it.
Yeah.
Free exfoliation for everybody. You build the house and you come out healthier, fitter. You don't need to do a gym membership.
No way.
Incredible blackheads.
Yeah.
So Susie, our permaculture principle that our modules based on this month is use small and slow solutions. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about how you use this principle in your life.
I guess it's been such a slow process building. I mean, 8 years probably of building with 2 young kids. So I was working, being a mum, building at the same time. So it was just little bits every day, you know, one cob mix maybe, you know, on the days that I could, or just little bits and pieces, just so I felt like I was moving forward, so that I was feeling some sort of progress. But, you know, it's been an adventure, because 2 years ago I had a breakdown, and that felt like that whole dream just collapsed. It felt like my whole life fell apart, you know, physically and mentally. I felt like I'd lost my mind. You know, everything cracked open, and I thought all this work and everything that I've done is just, you know, gone to waste, you know, and I had to move out and have a year off to have a break to come back at it and meet Hugh. And we've been together nearly 2 years now, meeting a beautiful, conscious man to walk alongside, and he loves all the same things. So that's magic, being able to go through that journey now and come around and finish it off, go back to the property, which I never thought I would do. I didn't even think that I'd go back and visit it. I was so, you know, broken, the whole thing. Sorry, so your question was small and slow solutions. It's just been a long journey, a beautiful personal growth journey, and just doing little bits each day that I could. And there are a lot of weeks and months went past that I couldn't do anything because I was busy being mum or earning money. So it's been a big journey to complete. It's been nice to come to that point where we've just sold the house and it's completed. Not sure if that answers the question.
No, it does. Sounds like the principle, like they all do, they infiltrate into every area of our life. You know, it's just not out in the yard doing something that's gardening or, you know, deemed as permaculture. That's what I love about these principles. They operate everywhere in our life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we saw that you're finished, because we came and did, you also hosted workshops as well, just in amongst all of that. And having students come and participate and do and learn from you. And I know that was one of their, you know, major highlights. They really loved that experience. Like, where do you have that experience unless people like you leading the way can, you know, bring people in? And so is that part of what you're doing when you start on your new property?
Absolutely. We want to probably involve more people than we have before. We'd like it to be set up more of a community where people come and exchange whatever their superpowers are, whether you're an earth builder or a yoga or meditation or whatever you want to bring into that space, and you exchange it for building, and we can set up a community of cob pods, like an intentional community space, and all these little cob pods, but they'll only be small, like,
that's a great rain.
Sort of like 5 metre to 7 metre sized dwellings, all self-sufficient with their own solar and water, and all earth build off grid, just little small pods everywhere. So that's our idea for the future, and to be involving more people that come in and help. And just empower people, like being able to empower people like that, it's amazing. Especially women, I find, really get a lot out of it, to be able to mix mud and learn how to build a basic dwelling. It's incredibly empowering. It's not something women get the experience to have. Amazing.
Beautiful.
And women have built beautiful cob homes because they're so naturally more creative and sculpturous with everything. It's like, the sculpturous a word? I don't know.
It is now.
It is now. Sculpturous. A feminine thing.
And from when you started, you know, you had this vision, you went and did this workshop, and then you're like, I'm going to build my family home. What you know, in terms of, because, you know, I witnessed you start with just one room, and then what I saw as the finished product was this epic 2-story place with this kitchen and shower and just all of the fine, you know, like, you know, there's like the walls, but then there's all this artistic work and the way that you did the floor, and it was just, it's one of a kind. It's such a beautiful home. But from when you started, do you feel like what did you learn in along the way? Do you feel, could you just tell us a little bit about the journey from beginning to end and what skills you've gained in that process of building slowly?
Well, the beginning was just a small cob pod. It was just, you know, maybe 7-9 meters wide, little round earth home with a living roof, your traditional cob house. And then other people sort of came in and said, maybe you should put in a big roof. The wet season's coming. So I put in this big roof, which you've seen, you know, and it's quite a big space. And I thought I'll just build under that so I can build through the wet season. And then it all just changed and grew. As you saw, I started with one little space, and then that grew into a mezzanine floor. And then I thought I'll put bedrooms upstairs for the kids because we were going through some hard times with like fleas and insects and things, and you know, living in the bush, it's quite hard, so you go through different periods of being mauled by bugs and the odd snake experience, mozzies, a few bits and pieces, but they wanted to be off the ground, so we built a mezzanine floor. And then when I met Hugh, I was just like, I'm not going back into that space. And he said, you know, look, this is my vision, I see that we can finish this. And he just brought that light back into it. So we worked together from there and went, what do we need to move back in? Well, he just said, what do you need to move back into this space? And I said, well, the kids need a room each. We need an enclosed kitchen because we had a lot of rats and animals getting into all our food. And, you know, I need cupboards. And so we kind of had a list of, right, we need to get in and these are the things we want to have achieved. And we just got stuck into it. And the more we did it, the more we got excited about it. And we realized how well we worked together. And it was a beautiful thing for our relationship too, because we realized how much we had in common. You know, we loved all that earth building. And the more mainstream we got, the more we were like, we don't want to be using these paints and toxic materials and all the lining board and insulation. You know, we can do the same thing with earth. You know, with our own feet, with the local resources. It doesn't cost anywhere near as much money, and, you know, it just inspired us even more to just keep building with earth. So it all had its place.
Yeah. And Hugh was already building cob pizza ovens, hey? Like you guys were in the same community. And
two people, or there's only like a few people in the far north of whole Queensland that actually build with earth, like cob buildings. And he'd built his whole bakery as an earth bakery, but he'd also done lots of cob sculptures at the Steiner School and pizza ovens. I think he's been building for 10 years. So yeah, it was like these two minds coming together and going, oh wow, we actually have so much in common. Yeah, pretty cool.
So sometimes it's good just to take a break and to pause and recalibrate, and then you know, that so-called bad thing was actually the exact thing that needed to happen.
It wasn't bad at all. It was instead of a breakdown, it was a breakthrough. It was like this breaking open, and then the light comes in, and you're able. I think it just sort of shifted me on the right path. In retrospect, it was like I was probably heading not down the wrong track, but it was just a big wake-up call to shift me back on track. And so it's the most beautiful thing that could happen. Not at the time, I didn't think that, obviously. No.
Never do. No. And so was that in 2020? Was that place in 2020 or the year before?
The breakdown?
Yeah, was it happening through COVID time that you moved out?
No, it was not COVID. It was 2 years ago probably that I had a breakdown, and then I moved out for a year, and then we moved in pretty much the year of COVID. So that was last year. We moved back in. And the COVID was a beautiful thing to lock us down into our place. So we went, oh well, let's do some more work on the house, and that was a really great thing that came out of that from our point of view. It was really promising because we weren't going to work or doing anything else. We were just like, oh, let's concentrate on doing some things at home.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing all of that.
Yeah, thanks, Susie. What are we up to? Can you provide us could you provide some advice to our nature kids, or what advice could you provide to our nature kids families about being earth carers? I think you've hit on a few things already today, but yeah.
The main thing for me is having that connection with nature and living as close to nature as you can, but still respecting it, still having that respect for, you know, when you live in the bush like that, you have to have a really healthy respect for nature, because you have got snakes and dingoes and goannas and things that are coming in and out of your space. And once you set up that connection with nature and you have that respect for them, then they take their own space and you have your own space, and then it's you can live in those wild places, I think. When I first moved onto that place, we had some big snakes that were coming into our camp, but they were just hanging out. They were just like these huge 5-meter pythons just wanting to like curl up under the table and just hang out there. And I found it really confronting initially, because I remember like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I'd stepped out to go to the toilet over this huge snake. And I thought he's gonna just attack us in the night and curl up around Jade and eat her alive, you know. So it was like 2 or 3 in the morning, and my worst fear would like taken over me. And then the next day, the neighbour's son came in to relocate the snake, and he said, "Do you want to hold it?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that'd be cool." And I got to actually hold it and see it up close, and my heart was just like, oh my gosh, what a beautiful, beautiful animal. And it just flipped from fear to love in that moment, the respect that I had for these gorgeous animals. And in the end, we didn't even relocate them. Someone said to me, if you relocate, another one's still going to come into that space. You just need to learn to co-inhabit, is it? When you're kind of all living in space together, and respect for each other, rather than, you know, relocating it or killing it, or, you know, it in some way.
Yeah. So you didn't have chickens there?
We went through our fair share of losing chickens and guinea pigs and ducks to goannas and lots of those things. We've learned how to cage things properly now, and not let little ducks running around, you know, free range. We couldn't do that at the beginning because the goannas would just come in the daylight, out again. So we've learned our lessons with those things. That's just a respect too, that they're hungry and they're seeing a small animal run around. The kids learnt that. They thought this was something attacking their personal pet, and they were taking it quite personally, but you can't. You have to understand that these are wild animals and we're in their space.
Thank you. I think that's a great point. Such a great point. Like, respecting nature, it's not only about like the waste or the footprint that we leave, but like you just said, that this is their habitat too. So learning to live together. That was really nice. Thanks, Susie, for sharing.
Because you go in with this fear that it's, you know, going from New Zealand, it's a rainforest, there's lots of things that can kill you. And it's not like that at all. It's not like that at all.
Some big critters out there though. Yeah. Snakes, big spiders. Cool. Well,
we just had a big black, have you seen the big black furry trapdoor spiders? He was down the back of our couch. And I sent a message to Deanna and Ellen that know all the spiders in town, and I'm like, what's this? And she's like, it's a male trapdoor spider. He's trying to find a girlfriend. And I'm like, well, not behind my couch.
Out there. Just go, you do some matchmaking outside.
That's right. Go do dating out in the bush.
I wonder if it was your big snake that came and visited us here. We did the same thing, walked straight out off the back stairs and over a big amethyst python. Same, didn't realize, just learning about the animals in our area here as well, because we don't want to kill it, but automatically we want to remove it and take it somewhere else, and it just kept coming back. And I didn't, then I did some research, and it turns out that they're like turtles. They have a magnetic pull, and they know no matter where you take them, they find their way back.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, and who are we? Say, look, we don't want you in your home anymore. We're going to take you somewhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. Can you tell us what do you love most about nature? What is one of your favorite things about nature?
Oh, everything.
Yeah.
It feels like, I'm not sure how I'm going to describe this. Nature is, to me, is like divine expression. And to be working in that divine expression, it's just this constant depth, layers and layers that I get into it of knowledge and learning, and I'm working in it all the time, but constantly working with nature and clay and sand and straw and all those natural materials, and in that environment I just feel like it's just a constant school of knowledge. It just blows me away all the time, especially up here. I think there's such a diversity of animal life and trees and insects and bugs, and it just blows me away. And we've just been spending a lot of time up Cape Trib and Bloomfield, and it's just even wilder up there. Some diversity up there is incredible. So I get very excited about nature. Everything about it.
Yeah. Thank you, Susie.
And the beautiful creeks at this time of the year and the waterfalls.
A place we're all frequent a bit more now.
Yes, all of a sudden it feels like, let's get to the creek.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
Heating up. All of the termite queens fires were taking off. So
I saw that the other day too.
It's upon us.
So what's your timeline? When are you planning on being up there and starting your community Earth Pod project?
So they're not sure about settlement. The banks are a little bit backlogged at the moment, but we're hoping it's about 4 weeks. It may be 4 to 6 weeks at the moment. So just delays on the banks, and then finding a property. So we've just been looking at land at Bloomfield and Rossville and Cape Trib areas. Really lot bigger blocks up there, like 60 odd acres. And and then hopefully we'll find something where we can get in before the wet season and at least make a camp or some sort of structure with a roof before the rains start. Otherwise we might be just hanging out at Wallaby Creek a bit longer in the pizza oven there.
Oh, just to add that in, that beautiful pizza oven space that you created at the festival, that was amazing.
That was so much fun.
I saw you during the daytime, but then I saw it at nighttime, and that all of the bottles, like the light was a whole new experience, even seeing it in the evening.
You would put like a light inside the oven down the bottom there, so all the bottles shone out. That was amazing.
Very clever.
And how long did that take to build?
Well, we were just, because we were going from Kuranda up and back, it was like a week at a time. We just left the camper trailer up there and just, it was like our home away from home for a couple of months. But all in all, probably a couple of weeks work, I suppose, if you were doing it full time. And we had people coming and going and, getting interested in it. And then they'd go off on their journeys and other people would come in and help. And it was a lot of fun just building it. It was even to the point where I think beforehand was more fun than the actual festival.
I know all of a sudden you had to share like Wallaby Creek with hundreds of people.
No, it was just a different experience, I suppose. And we've cooked all weekend. We've made pizzas, like 700 pizzas. 700 pizzas I think we made over the weekend. So we were pretty busy.
A lot of happy people, though, I imagine. A lot of happy people.
Beautiful. Well, shall we finish up so we can take off for the rest of our day, and you can jump in that beautiful creek you keep talking about? Thank you for joining us from your car with the internet down by the sky rail there.
Thanks for keep problem solving until you got us, Susie. Appreciate that.
That's all right. Nice to see you guys.
Yeah, you too.
You too. Thank you so much, and look forward to your send off in 4 to 6 weeks. Please don't leave town without a send off. Too many people here who love you and want to say goodbye for your journey north.
Yeah. We will. We'll have a nice big party.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then look forward to watching your new project, your new adventures unfold and coming for a visit.
Great, thank you. Appreciate your support. It's great.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
It's awesome.